Hey man, so I apologize for the late review. As I usually say, it's whenever I can. These days I am very busy, so I apologize for that. Um, all right, so I had a look at your reel. It's really cool. Oh, sorry, yeah, I was just having a look here. Um, it's really cool. You've got some nice rendered shot here. This one is a bit odd because it's very um, yeah, I don't know, slimy. Um, you've got some parkour, that's good. Some walk cycle practicing and stuff, that's good. Um, I'll tell you a word on that rig later. Um, some attacks is cool. Okay, okay. So I do remember seeing your animation Demoreel um, in the applicant uh, list several times. So my first thing would be um, first, I think I told you this by chat, but make sure you make a demo reel with what you want to apply for. So if you want to be, because I know you are a rigger, um, I think so. If you want to apply for the rigging team, then do a rig reel. You could, of course, at the end either. I mean, I would advise you to just do two separate reels. That would be simpler. And if you want to apply for animation, then obviously just an animation reel. And also, it's also good to tell us that you can do rigging as well. That's always, an added bonus. Um, all right. So for this case, I'll obviously presume that you want advice on animation. So this is your animation only, sorry, but this is your latest animation reel. Um, so, well, okay. I said I was gonna say something about the this rig. If I were you, I would let I would let that rig on the side for a bit because has um um challenging proportion, I would say. The rig is awesome, the model is awesome. I mean, the I haven't tested the rig, but the model is awesome. The texture is super cool. That's great. But to practice your animation, I would say it's a good rig to practice on, but probably later on when you have a bit more experience. So only reason I'm saying this mainly is because of the bear here, the bear skin. Um, if you look at how big that skin is, it's basically, if you just take that shape, it's basically the size of this guy. So it, even though it's supposed to be a skin, I guess, so it's not super heavy. The fact that you have all of that, I mean, that in terms of shape language, that you have a big thing on his back basically feels like there should be weight on it, so it should be a bit heavy. At least that's how I feel it. Also, the guy is very heavy and he has huge arms as well and very short legs, so those are challenging by themselves. So what I would do is, if you want to go back to that rig later on, that's fine. Sure, that would be a good rig to practice on, to practice heavy stuff. If you could, I would advise you to get rid of that skin on his back because I think the model would be much better in terms of proportion without it, or a tinier skin, just so it doesn't look like, I don't know, a huge sack or something. So to me, I'd say that that's the problem. So I would let that rig on the side first, and I'd use more, rigs like those purely because with those rigs, it's very clear. You've got this, the silhouette is very clear. So um, yeah, so I would continue to use rigs like that. Also, with those rigs, obviously it's a very cartoony rig, but you could totally um, do some more realistic, weighty animation. Put more weight in it. I think it's not a problem. and you could also do some very cartoony stuff. So here, for example, I think those are great exercises that you're doing because it looks like they are games animations. So every time he attacks, it goes back to stand pose, a little idle, another attack, goes back. That's great. That's really cool. And also, what's good about it is basically you've got three different animation, and all of them makes one. So this is good because you can just focus on one animation at a time instead of seeing it as a whole timeline. No, you just see that timeline. So it's probably like, I don't know, 50 frame or something, perhaps shorter even. Shorter the better at first. And so with that, you can just focus on, you don't want to overwhelm yourself with like huge timeline. And if you want to learn or practice rather your body mechanics skills, then it's really good to have a short timeline and and really polish the heck out of that short timeline. So however many frames there are in that animation, I would suggest that yeah, that's what you should be doing is like exercises like this. And so what you could do, to give you an example, for example, if I just do this, that's what I was looking at the beginning of recording. Um, you could just take that part, for example, as I said, and and really polish the heck out of it. So, um, for example, I'll give you a few hints. Um, First, you could look at how appealing your animation is and the flow of your animation. So instead of focusing too much on the body mechanic, so be careful. I'm saying this, but you really need to know your body mechanic. So I'll advise you to do some body mechanic exercise later. But what I'm just saying here is to try to design a good, a cool, appealing animation. Feel, um, you need to feel the action like you need to make it feel fun, cool, if I say so. So appealing, basically. So here it's a little bit rigid, and that's fine to practice stuff like this. Like it's just a very almost look like a training punch session where you have to practice the technique perfectly and stuff. So that's absolutely fine. There's no worry about this. But if you want to make it uh, that would be actually me saying this is probably a bad advice at that stage, but for a later you, when you're a bit more comfortable and catched up a bit more with body mechanic. By the way, I'm very frank, so I hope you don't take this personally. It's only in order to help you. Um, but yeah, I think that's that's something very important is as soon as you will master a bit better the body mechanic and you will feel more comfortable with it, then you can think of those things. And so those things are very important to um, go to the next level. Once we know, I say we as like recruiters or people that are looking for animators, sorry, um, we wanna we wanna see that um, well, obviously you master body mechanic, but also that you have good ideas. So all I'm trying to say basically is that this animation is a bit boring. So I understand in context of what you're demoing here, which is again those three animation together, blending and returning to start pose. That's a good exercise. But if you want to take it next step, those animations are a bit boring. That say, that's why I'm a bit angry with myself that I mentioned this. Keep that advice, but for later when you are comfortable with body mechanic. At the moment, I think you really need to practice body mechanic and add as much detail as possible. So I'm guessing you had a reference to look at for this punch, this series of punches and kick that you've done. If you haven't, what I would suggest you to do is, well, have a look and see how much different part of the body is affected and does not move at the same time. Here, well, letting alone that you don't have any anticipation, um, which is one of the basics of animation. Perhaps as well to add to my advice list, to my advice rather. add to the list, obviously the animator survival kit, so you can practice on that, on the 12 principles. But yeah, that would be good. Um, yeah, so here obviously you're lacking anticipation, which will help your animation. But the main thing I see is that everything moves at the same time. So if you see here, I'm just scrubbing through those two frames. Everything moves at the same time. So the foot is moving at the same time as the chest, the head, the fist. Um, in reality, that would not happen. And if even though it would happen, because everything always happens in reality, there's always the counterexample. But if you want to make your animation better, you need to work on this. So I would advise you to break things down a lot more than this. That's basically what I call adding detail, and while having a correct body mechanic. So what I would advise you to do is, well, you could work on, you know, those, I think it's a animation mental rig where you've got just like, I don't even know, I think you've got ears and you've got feet. Those are great because you can figure out weight shift. You can figure out um, how the leg how the leg take the weight, and what to do with the rest of the body. And also, yeah, I said again already, but weight shift. So before step, what's happening with the hips? Um, and you could start with that. Do some exercises with this. Try to master that, which, by the way, they don't need to be in your demo reel. That's just for you, right? And also you can do, you know, the good old pendulum exercise. Very boring, but very useful. You know, the pendulum thing. That will teach you. That will make you practice all of that. That would be perhaps my advice if maybe a full body character is a bit too overwhelming. You could do a few exercises with those, and then try again with full body rigs. Yeah, so that'd be that, and then I'm not even gonna talk about the rest, but the rest is a bit more interesting actually. The punch. Um, Although here again, one of the principle of animation, you know, I'll follow through. And here, just look at how still that is. You did it on the mask though, so that's good. But yeah, you really want weight to carry over into any action. So yeah, that would be the main thing I would say. Regarding all of this, it's fine if you want to. I don't think it has its place in your demo reel, because all you're showing is just, well, that's a bit more interesting, for example. But this seems like very basic animation, so there's nothing really interesting in that. Don't forget, we with demo reels we want to see who you are as well. So I understand it's like, I would call this. Sorry, I hope I'm not hurting your feelings, but the beginner's demo reel. So I understand that you know we might see this in beginner's demo reel, but yeah, at the end of the day, one thing I would say as well on demo reel, as in general, I would avoid rendering. This is good though because your background is simple. Unless you're very comfortable with rendering, then you know it takes you no time, then it's fine. But at your all we want to see is good animation, whatever the render is. If even if it's a play blast, everything is great, and as long as we can see what's happening and scroll through, you know, frame by frame, that's all we want to see. Um, Here, for example, you did a parkour, which is a great exercise to do. So I would strongly encourage you to continue doing this. But see how your camera is not helping. Your camera is very confusing. Sorry. Your camera is very confusing and doesn't help the readability of your scene at all. It's moving too much. It's too close to the character. The background is more detailed than the foreground. There are like all of those because also the quality is quite bad. So all of those tiny details that just attract the viewer's eyes, whereas the rig is very simple, very sleek. Um, so that's a contrast that doesn't help readability. The eyes is attracted to detail and movement, and here, so you've got movement in the foreground, but also in the background because the camera moves a lot. But you've got the background is very detailed, so and you can see in terms as well of lighting that it's more bright in the background almost than your character. So yeah, basically all I'm trying to say is keep it simple. Keep it simple, just like a nice clear background like this. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to render it. Yeah, absolutely, that's fine. That say, again, if you are very comfortable with rendering, compositing, and stuff like that, and that it takes you no time, then of course it's an added bonus. But all I'm saying is I think you should focus on body mechanic animation rather than trying to, do a nice polished demo reel. So yeah. Another thing on demo reel, all right, I'll start with this actually. You added a dialogue here, which is good. I mean, it's cool. Um, if you want to apply for us, for example, well, we don't really care unless you want to apply for cinematic, then we want to see it. Also, only put a dialogue in there if you're really proud of it. So, because yeah, to us it's just an added bonus. Again, like we're not gonna ask you to do any dialogue scenes unless you work in cinematic again. So just know where you apply and just do your demo reel, just do a bespoke demo reel for where you apply. Um, and so on to the next thing is the order of things. So I was always taught basically um, first shot. All right, first you've got let's call it zero. Zero, you should have your name card. I don't know how it's called, but like yeah, your contact and all of that. First shot should be your best shot. You open with your best shot. Second shot, so there's a little bit of a debate here, but it's either your second or your third best shot. And then the rest you fill with, well, the your not three best shot. And then the last one. All right, so the last one should also be your name card. So I don't know, I'll just do it zero again. But the last shot of the reel should be either your third if you started with your second, or your second if you started with your third best shot. It's simple. That way, sometimes we just receive hundreds of applications, sometimes thousands. Not us, but I'm sure there are some studios that receive lots of applications. And so the demo reel process is quite quick, and usually we have a quick idea of who we are dealing with in like the first three shots that we are seeing. So yeah, it happened quite often that we just after seeing sometimes even first shot, to be honest, if the first shot is terrible or an incredibly bad taste or yeah, we just shut it right away because we know, all right, perhaps stopping after the first one is not true. Perhaps we stop after the second or third one, but all I'm trying to say is you need to make good impression as soon as possible and close on a good impression as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a editing magic here, but that really helps. So that's gonna put all the chances on your side. So yeah, that would be my advice on that. All right, so I think that's it. Do not. I hope you're not. Um, how can I say this? Demoralized by what I'm saying. If anything, it's very positive. I can see you're quite proactive. You do quite a lot of animations, tests, and renders and rig and stuff like that. So that's cool. That's really cool. Just, I mean, animation is hard work, so just practice. Try to focus on what I mentioned. So like simple body mechanic stuff. Leave the complicated rig alone for now. um, Reorganize your Demoreel, and keep those exercises coming. Don't stop. And once you feel a bit more comfortable with body mechanic, which depending on people, it can take no time or it can take lots of time. I'm guessing you've got a full-time job, so it's probably gonna take you a while to just basically keep practicing your stuff in the evening or weekends and whatever. But yeah, keep practicing. And once you feel a bit more comfortable with body mechanic, then try to think a bit more of appeals in the way you design your animation. So try to sell a bit more ideas and show us who you are, rather than some very mechanical and slash boring stuff. Yeah. Also depends the role you're applying, but I would say, to take CA as an example, our lowest entrance role would be a trainee, and for trainee we have some. I mean, the bar is quite high, the quality bar is very high. So um, yeah, keep in mind that you're gonna be competing with with very good animators. So you need to put all the chances on your side. So yeah. I think that's all I've got. I hope it's helpful. If anything isn't clear or uh, if if you've got any questions, feel free. Also, if you want to do more practice and send it to me, it's absolutely fine. Do this. When I'll be able to, I'll review your animations and give you feedback in that form, which will probably be shorter than this, but yeah. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if it's not, and good luck. Keep practicing. See you later, man. Bye.